A Pennsylvania pastor named Duane Youngblood leads the Higher Call World Outreach Church. And in 2008, he found himself in some legal troubles because he, quote, molested a 15-year-old boy during counseling sessions in 2006. Well, he actually pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 1 year of intermediate punishment and 7 years probation. He also registered as a sex offender under Megan's Law. Well, come to find out, he went right back to his old ways. Gee, who could have saw that coming? As soon as he was released, quote, a 21-year-old victim told police that Youngblood began molesting him at the age of 16 during counseling sessions at the church in Homestead. A criminal complaint said that Youngblood took the boy in the back room of the church, instructed him to pull down his pants, and touched him inappropriately during their first session. The victim estimated that Youngblood abused him in 25 out of 30 to 40 counseling sessions. So here we have a guy who, he was convicted. It was a fact that he molested a 15-year-old boy, but they didn't even lock him up. They said, 7 years probation, write your name on the list, and sayonara. What is that? What does that even, why? Why are you doing that? Now, look, even if somebody wants to make the case, well, the punishment, it might have fit the crime. I don't know the details of that original situation that led to him getting punished and him getting convicted. But sure, one can maybe make an argument that, well, that makes sense. But here's the problem. Even if you do take that position, well, for fuck's sake, you can't have the guy go back to working with kids like nothing ever happened directly after that. I mean, how insane is that? There was another story that we left on the cutting room floor the other day, but it's very similar to this one. I think it was from Kentucky. Pretty much the same thing. A pastor was convicted of being a pedophile. He was on the sex offender list, and then they hired him to be a youth pastor. Why would you do that? And supposedly all the guy said in the interview was, "Oh yeah, the way the deal worked, I pleaded guilty, but I actually wasn't guilty. I didn't do it, but sure, I was. They say I touched a little kid's dick and played with it, but not crazy. That didn't happen. Anyway, do I have the job? Who sits there and goes, sure, other than that, you're totally qualified? Morons, man. We got morons in this world. Look, I said it once, I'll say it again. You got to be careful, man. When you're dealing with kids, especially in a religious situation, you got to look after them. Don't trust them alone around people, even if you think you trust that person. Oftentimes, where there's smoke, there is fire. If somebody is bending over backwards, this isn't an 100% thing across the board. Obviously, there's a lot of people who work with kids that they genuinely care about child development, and they care about making an impact on this world and changing people's lives for the better, right? But also, at the same time that's happening, there's another very scary group of people, oftentimes working in the religious field, where if they want to work with kids, they're looking to boink little boys. Okay, sometimes little girls too, but they're looking for it, man. They want to play with the weenus. I'm telling you, how many times have we covered stories like this? You gotta look after them. You gotta find a way to, I don't know whether it's you pass a law or you don't pass a law, or you just get people to raise awareness and consciousness and go, oh, I get it. If you were a sex offender, I'm not gonna let you alone around kids. What a hard idea to figure out. Now, the final thing to throw out there about this is amazing. Quote, Youngblood wrote a book in 2006 entitled Freedom from Homosexuality, No Longer Living the Lie. Tell me again how you're cured. You can't change your sexual orientation, man. We gone over it 1,000 times. I'm straight. For me to wake up and say, I'll try the other thing today. Not possible. Simply not interested in it. I imagine it's the same thing for purely gay people, and, there's a whole spectrum of sexuality, and you are what you are, all right? You're not going to change that. But this clown wrote a book about how he changed his sexuality, and then right after that he was caught, boinking little boys. So I could go on the old rant about, hey, haha, hee, a guy who's anti-gay who turned out being gay, but we've gone over that so thoroughly time and time again. We know it's basically a fact at this point that there's an it's probable that if you're massively anti-gay, you probably have some of those feelings yourself. You're probably at least bisexual yourself. But we'll put that aside and just focus on the bottom line, which is, how can you let somebody who we know is a pedophile end up working with kids? Stop the madness.